We all know what one means when they say the classics. Jaws, Godfather, and Nightwing and Batgirl checkmate. But today, we explore the classics of horror. Diego has found a DVD box set containing 50 classic horror movies. And he has made it his mission to watch every single one. Please, right this way. And welcome back to the silver screen!
Invisible Ghost follows a man by the name of Charles Kessler. He is an old money millionaire that lives in a mansion with a cast of characters. We've got his daughter, Virginia, the butler, Evans, the gardener, Jules, and the maid, Cecile. The movie starts with Charles having dinner by himself, but acting as if someone is across the table. Virginia and her boyfriend Ralph walk in on this, and Virginia explains the situation to Ralph. Her mother, Charles's wife, left them a long time ago for her affair partner. The two got in a car crash and they both died. Charles seems to be going through some state of shock, as this is not the only time he has acted like she was alive. To make things more off-putting, the camera then follows Jules as he goes off to his house. There we discover that Mrs. Kessler is alive. She is very much still in a state of shock from the car crash. We cut back to the mansion where Ralph and Cecile are having an argument before Ralph leaves. The two are implied to be ex-lovers, and Cecile doesn't want Ralph to marry Virginia. He says nothing will stop their happiness and storms off. Brace yourselves, because this is where the crazy shit happens. Mrs. Kessler is spotted by Charles in the window. This causes Charles to enter a state of pure disassociation as he looks for someone in the house to kill. Afterwards, he snaps out of it and returns to his normal self with no recollection of his crimes. First, he kills Cecile. Because of their argument that night, Ralph is framed for the crime and is executed promptly. Later that day, Ralph's twin brother Paul comes over, wanting to uncover the mysteries of the house. The next time Charles sees his wife in the window, he murders Jules, who almost identifies him as the murderer before finally succumbing to his death. The third time he sees her, Charles attempts to kill his own daughter before a thunderstorm snaps him out of it. Instead, he destroys a painting of his wife and kills a police officer he had stationed at the mansion. The detective assigned to the case is about to put the cuffs on the butler before Mrs. Kessler walks in, looking for food. Upon seeing her, Charles attempts to kill the detective then and there. In the next room, Mrs. Kessler drops dead spontaneously. This causes Charles to snap out of the episode. The detective informs him that he was the killer the whole time. He says a few words to the portrait of his wife before he is taken away.
This one shocked me in a good way. At first, I looked at the oxymoronic title and thought this was going to be some sort of snooze fest. However, I was surprised to find myself invested in the mystery. Aside from me laughing my ass off with the identical twin brother coming in, the plot was handled with care, which is more than I can say for a lot of these movies. The camera movements were a lot more vibrant in this one compared to others. While this movie isn't a diamond in the rough, it certainly stands out from what we have seen so far. Is it scary? No. Was it ever scary? I'm not sure. But it was entertaining. I'm giving this movie 3 skulls out of 5.
One Body Too Many centers around insurance salesman Albert Tuttle. 1 month ago, he scheduled an appointment with billionaire Cyrus J. Rutherford about his life insurance. His timing is off, however, for by the time the appointment happens, Cyrus is dead and his family is reading the will. The rewards of said will are never revealed, only to be delivered once the body is properly buried in the observatory. This process will take a few days, so the family members present must stay until it is complete. If any leave, they forfeit their legacy. If any attempt to bury the body normally, the rewards of the will reverse, and the one set to get the most gets the least, and vice versa. Albert comes in and is initially mistaken as the detective set to watch over the body as the days pass. He is set to leave once the mix-up makes itself known, only to realize everyone in the house is trying to kill each other. Butlers, maids, professors, nieces and nephews, all trying to kill each other secretly. The rest of the movie becomes a satire of the whole classic whodunit, with Albert acting as the reluctant hero with a slapstick flair. The body gets moved around, people start dying, and at some point, Albert himself gets framed. By the end, the true murderer is revealed to be one of the nephews, who is served justice when he is knocked off the observatory roof by a telescope. The family gets their shares, the body is properly buried, and Albert gets the girl in the end.
This movie's plot and characters were interesting. It's just a shame that the lighting was the film's biggest flaw. Entire sequences were impossible to see, and not much can be blamed on preservation alone. Aside from that, it's fascinating to see the blueprints of a comedic whodunit be laid out. I'm glad they were able to perfect the formula by 1985, when Clue hit theaters. It is strange, though, that a movie with such a comedic tone is included in a horror movie box set. I really hope this isn't a common occurrence. I give this movie 3 skulls out of 5.
The movie follows a young couple, Neil and Madeline, in Haiti to meet with someone who wishes to help the couple get married and start their lives together. That someone is plantation owner Charles Belmont. Here's the twist. Charles is in love with Madeline and wants to steal her away from Neil. So, Charles asks a witch doctor to turn Madeline into a zombie so that she can forget about Neil for a month and fall in love with Charles. The witch doctor does so, and Neil, now a sad drunk, teams up with Charles's old doctor friend to get to the bottom of what is actually going on. Charles then decides to be a normal person and realize what he is doing is wrong. He asks the witch doctor to reverse the spell, and the witch doctor refuses. In fact, the witch doctor intends to keep Madeline all to himself. It all comes to a head when Neil and the regular doctor invade the castle of the witch doctor. The witch doctor and Charles are pushed off a cliff, and Madeline returns to normal, loving her Neil once again.
I was so ready to give this movie the lowest rating I've ever given so far. Like, holy crap, how my brain wanted to do anything else than watch this. The only saving grace in this movie is that some of the cinematography looks good. Like, there was a whole long take that started and ended in the exact same way, and I thought that was pretty clever. There are some cool special effects and some decent transitions, but other than that, there is a white man in brownface, a few microaggressive comments here and there, and a lot of the movie where nothing happens. I'm giving this movie 1 skull out of 5, and frankly, it will go down if I keep thinking about it.
Attack of the Giant Leeches is a story about people dying in a swamp somewhere in the southern US in the early 1900s. Some of those killed include a poacher, a cheating couple, and 2 certified Florida men. Our titular hero, Steve Benton, is a deputy of some kind, determined to protect marine life in the swamp. When the mysterious deaths occur, he, his girlfriend, and her dad all try to uncover who or what is causing all of this chaos. The fact that the bodies take a while to be discovered, alligators are not seen at all in the swamp, and the bodies that were found have all their blood drained, leads to the 3 main characters to determine the killer to be some species of leeches. After finding the final body, Steve finally kills the creatures with a few harpoons and a few hundred sticks of dynamite. The creatures appear dead as they rise to the surface before floating out of view as the text on screen reads, "The End."
I'm starting to notice a pattern. These monster movies rarely have the monster in them. Unfortunately, this is a problem that still continues to this day. I'm looking at you, 2014 Godzilla. The leeches are really cool to look at, if only the camera wasn't allergic to staying on them for more than a few frames. None of the characters are that memorable, and the reason why the leeches are giant and there in the first place is brushed over in the last 10 minutes. The cinematography under the water is borderline unwatchable, thanks to, what I can only assume, the AC forgetting to clean the lens. Hope he got fired for that. I'm giving this movie 2 skulls out of 5. Not horrible, but it let me down.
The movie starts off with a PSA that states if any audience members die of fright, the makers of the film will happily pay for the funeral. So already we have the best possible start. After that warning, we are introduced to Eric and Jenny, who just got married. They are set to move back into an old mansion that belonged to Eric's late ex-wife, Marion, whom there is a portrait of in the house. Tending to the mansion ever since Marion's unfortunate death is Mickey, the gardener. Mickey is shown to still be very attached to Marion as the two grew up together. He has gone non-verbal since her death, straight up not speaking to either Eric or Jenny upon their arrival. On top of that, Jenny, aside from being rich, is said to have a very tragic past. Both her parents drowned right in front of her, causing her to spend time in a mental hospital before the events of this movie. Nevertheless, the newlyweds meet up with the neighbors Reverend and Mrs. Snow. Upon meeting with them, Jenny learns more about Marion's death, namely that she died in the pond and her skull was smashed upon entry. After the housewarming get-together, Jenny and Eric try to go to sleep only for Jenny to hear screams coming from the portrait. Eric tries to explain it away as being the peacocks outside. The next day, Jenny and Mickey spend some time together visiting Marion's grave. The next night, Jenny hears more screams and sees no peacocks. As she checks on the portrait, she finds a skull in the cabinet. She throws it out of the window only for it to come back and bang on the front door. She faints and Eric finds her in this state and offers to help her. The Reverend and Jenny discuss the possibility of Jenny going back to the hospital while Eric looks for the skull and Mickey. Upon finding neither, Eric decides to burn the portrait as Jenny was fine before looking at it. Upon burning it, they find the skull in the ashes. Except, Eric pretends to not see it. When Jenny faints again, Eric hides the skull in the pond only for things to get crazier. He chats with the Reverend about sending Jenny back to a hospital. He then tries to find the skull again, but now it is gone. Mickey now has it and is showing it to the Snows. Things get really crazy when Jenny is looking for Eric that night and comes across the ghost of Marion in the garden house. Jenny runs back into the house only for Eric to try and kill her before being confronted with the ghost as well. Eric throws a chair at it, which causes it to explode, but the skull still follows him around. Eventually, the skull kills Eric in the pond. The next morning, the Snows are helping Jenny, explaining that Eric was trying to kill her for her money. Now, one can only imagine if Marion's accident was really an accident after all.
This was really fun to watch. While the camera work wasn't anything too crazy, the script is where the movie shines the most. The plot twist that Eric was a murderer really caught me off guard. It really made me rethink specific scenes and certain behaviors. The movie also having a total of 5 characters, 6 if you count the ghost, adds a bit of a charm to it, almost like it's a play. Yes, the effects are goofy now, but I can see how it would be scary back then. I'm giving this movie 4 skulls out of 5.
I hope you enjoyed this terrifying traverse through the history of cinema. I hope to see you again for the next episode of The Silver Screen.